In 1952, an old man walked into a small government office with a story no one was prepared to hear. He didn't ask for money, he didn't ask for fame. Instead, he made a single chilling claim. He said he was the last surviving citizen of a forgotten empire. An empire erased so completely from history that most people had never even heard its name. For centuries, old European maps showed something unusual. Across vast stretches of Asia, from Siberia to Central Asia, there was a massive territory labeled with one mysterious name, Great Tartary. Not a single country, not a single kingdom, but an enormous civilization. Cartographers in the 16th, 17th, and even 18th centuries marked it clearly. Some maps showed it larger than the entire Russian Empire, yet today, in most history books, Tartaria is barely mentioned. Some scholars say the name simply referred to unknown lands inhabited by various tribes, but others believe something else entirely. They believe Tartaria may have been a lost civilization, one whose history was slowly erased as new empires rose to power. And that brings us to the man who claimed he remembered it. In the winter of 1952, a frail old man reportedly appeared at a regional administrative office in Eastern Europe. Witnesses described him as quiet but strangely confident. His clothes were outdated, his accent difficult to place. When officials asked why he was there, he calmly replied, "I have come to record the truth before I die." They assumed he was confused. But then he said something that made the room fall silent. He claimed he was over 120 years old, and that he had been born in a place that no longer existed. A country erased from maps, Tartaria. The man explained that when he was a child, the world was very different. According to him, Tartaria had once been a network of advanced cities stretching across enormous distances. He described tall towers, strange architectural designs, and a culture that valued knowledge above power. He insisted their society had technologies that modern historians had never recorded. Energy systems built directly into buildings, transportation networks that connected distant regions, and most importantly, a knowledge system that was deliberately destroyed during the rise of new global powers. Officials in the room reportedly exchanged skeptical glances. To them, the man sounded like someone telling a fantasy, but he continued speaking calmly, as if he knew time was running out. According to the man's story, Tartaria did not fall through war alone. Instead, he described something far more complex: political pressure, cultural takeover, and a slow rewriting of history. He claimed that powerful nations gradually absorbed Tartarian territories. Cities were renamed, records were destroyed, and entire generations grew up never knowing their civilization had existed. By the late 1800s, he said, the last remnants of Tartaria had disappeared from official maps. But the people who remembered it still existed, at least for a while. Officials eventually ended the meeting. They had heard enough strange stories for one day. But before leaving, the old man reportedly asked to write down a final statement. A witness later described the room growing very quiet as he spoke. His voice had become weaker, but his words were clear. He said, "History is not only written by the winners, it is rewritten by them." He paused, then added one last sentence. A sentence that reportedly made everyone in the room uneasy. He said, "One day, people will rediscover what was hidden, and they will realize the past was far bigger than they were told." Shortly after giving his statement, the old man died. After his death, the documents from that meeting were reportedly filed away. Some claim they were archived. Others believe they were quietly removed. Today, no verified official record of the man's testimony has ever been publicly released, which raises a strange question. Did the man simply tell an elaborate story? Or was he one of the final witnesses to a forgotten chapter of history? Historians remain divided. Most dismiss the claim entirely, but the mystery surrounding Tartaria continues to grow online. As people rediscover old maps and strange architectural similarities across distant regions, whether the man's story was true, or simply the imagination of someone nearing the end of his life, his final message still echoes today, because history is not always as complete as we think, and sometimes the most fascinating stories are the ones that almost disappeared forever.